Hi everyone, welcome back. I'm going to go ahead and start going over the April Bible codes now. And this is the one that I started with in my last videos that were on April, the warning videos. And it had all these terms over here in it. And if you recall in this one, I couldn't come up with the full word Pentecost. Over here I had actually abbreviated it, and I used the prefix pent and then cost, but I had to leave out the E because it wouldn't come up that way in this matrix. But when I put the E in, it did come up in another matrix, and I'm going to go ahead and share this one. Okay, this one comes up in Isaiah 6:11 through Isaiah 7:4, and it reads at the top, April, pass, star, holy land, dead, rise, Pentecost. And of course Pentecost is divided into two parts. It doesn't bring up the whole word. But I'm gonna just go ahead and go over the terms here. In the blue you have land, and here you have holy in the bluish purple, and then in this green, the dark green, you have pente, which is 5 in the Greek. It's P-E-N-T-E, and then cost is over here in the fuchsia, the letter C-O-S-T. And here in the lavender, you have the word star, and it looks like it's sharing pass. So you have S-T-A-R. And then in the pink, of course, you have pass, and then over is, oh, actually this one does not have Passover. This one only has pass. The word over did not come up in this one. And I wanted to show you that I tried to put in over and it brought up a different matrix. And I'll show you that one next because that one's interesting too. But let me just go back to this one now. So it just had pass, and then in the yellow we have rise, the letters R-I-S-E. And in the green, in the light green, you have dead with the letters D-E-A-D. And in this light red here, you have April, the month of April, the letters A-P-R-I-L. And this matrix is very interesting. It's interesting how it starts out. It says, then said I, Lord, how long? And that seems to be the question we're all asking, how long, Lord? So that's a really interesting way for this to start out. And like I said, this is the one that's actually showing Pentecost, but of course I did have to divide it up into two parts. But the other one did not come up with the E. It only came up without the E. So this one has a full word, but it's just divided in two. So I don't know if that's any indication or not, but I just wanted to point that out because we are talking about this time frame, which is very important, you know, from now up until Pentecost. And of course we always need to keep watch, even if it goes beyond that. We just need to be vigilant always. But that's an interesting way for this to start. And then it goes on to say, and he answered, until cities be waste, without inhabitant, and houses without man, and the land become utterly waste. Okay, so this sounds like the abomination of desolation, because that's what it's going to do. It's going to result in a wasteland, a desolation. So we have until that happens. And then it goes on to say, and Jehovah removed men far away. Can't get my mouse to work. Right there, that sounds like the rapture to me. So it says, then said I, Lord, how long? And he answered, until cities be waste without inhabitant, and houses without man, and the land become utterly waste, and Jehovah have removed men far away. And the forsaken places be many in the midst of the land. And then it's going back to talking about all the places that are forsaken in the midst of the land, which is the land becoming desolate here on earth. But in the meantime, it sounds like Jehovah will have removed men far away, which to me sounds like the rapture. So that's interesting. And then it goes on to say, and if there be yet a tenth in it, it also shall in turn be eaten up as a terebinth, and as an oak whose stalk remaineth, when they are felled, so the holy seed is the stalk thereof. And it came to pass, and that's interesting again, it says, and it came to pass, in the days of Ahaz, the son of Jotham, the son of Uzziah, king of Judah. Now this is interesting over here too, and I'm just going to go ahead and pause right here. I mean, I'm not going to pause the video, but I'm going to pause reading this to show you. Remember when we pulled up Flee to the Mountains? When you pull that up, and it talks about the abomination of desolation, and then in the Old Testament, the Old Testament and the New Testament basically speak about the same things, and this is the Old Testament version of it, and it talks about fleeing to the mountains, and you see that it mentions King Uzziah. Let me find it right here. It says, and ye shall flee to the valley of the mountains, for the valley of the mountains shall reach unto Azal. Yea, ye shall flee like as you fled from before the earthquake in the days of Uzziah king of Judah. And the Lord my God shall come, and all the saints with thee. That's the rapture. And so when you go back to the table, I'm not sure if it was this one. Okay, hold on. Sorry, I had too many tabs up. But as you can see, it mentions King Uzziah here as well. So just like it did in Zechariah 14. So I'll just continue reading from there. That Rezin the king of Syria and Pekah the son of Remaliah king of Israel went up to Jerusalem to war against it. So it's saying the king of Israel went up to Jerusalem to war against it, but could not prevail against it. And it was told the house of David, saying, Syria is confederate with Ephraim. And Ephraim represents the Gentiles, or the nations. So sometimes it's represented in a good way, as in the Jews and the Gentiles that make up God's kingdom, but sometimes it's represented in a bad way, where it's talking about the nations that go against Israel. And his heart trembled, and the heart of his people, as the trees of the forest tremble with the wind. Then said Jehovah unto Isaiah, Go forth now to meet Ahaz, thou and Shear-Jashub, thy son, at the end of the conduit of the upper pool, in the highway of the fuller's field, and say unto him, Take heed, and be quiet, fear not, neither let thy heart be faint, because of these two tales of smoking firebrands. for the fierce anger of Rezin and Syria and the son of Remaliah. Okay, I just wanted to show you this definition here of firebrand in the Bible Hub Strong's Concordance here. It says, from an unused root meaning to rake together, a poker for turning or gathering embers, a burning lamp, lightning, torch. And then over here, this is what, speaking of spark, this is what sparked my interest, is that it's also defined as a missile. So I thought that was interesting. And then it goes on to say, for the fierce anger of Rezin and Syria and the son of Remaliah. So I think that pretty much covers this table. I didn't really search for any other terms in this one. And I'll just go ahead and quickly go over this next one. Okay, this is where I try to put in over, and it came up with another matrix, and this one is in Genesis 47, which is also interesting. And I'm not sure if I'm going to have time to read the scriptures. I may have to do that in the next video, but I'll go ahead and go over the terms. So we have April, pass, star, holy land, dead, rise, over, and then pass was over here. So this does make reference to Passover if you put those two together. And you have rise over here in the yellow with the letters R, I, S, E. You have land here in the blue. You have pass in the pink. And then you have over in the dark green with the letters O, V, E, R. You have dead in the light green, the letters D, E, A, D. You have star in the lavender going this way. You have April in the light red, crossing star with the letters A, P, R, I, L, and it also crosses holy with the letters H, O, L, Y. And I think that's everything in this one. And let me see if I can quickly read the matrix. It's in Genesis 47:23, and it says, Then Joseph said unto the people, Behold, I have bought you this day and your land for Pharaoh. Lo, here is seed for you, and ye shall sow the land. And it shall come to pass at the ingatherings that ye shall give a fifth unto Pharaoh, and 4 parts shall be your own, for seed of the field, and for your food, and for them of your households, and for food for your little ones. And I just want to quickly talk about this word over here, in gatherings. This goes back to what we were talking about in Leviticus 23, but it's also mentioned in, it's mentioned in Exodus, but this is not exactly what I was looking for, but I'll go ahead and read this. It says, And the feast of harvest, the first fruits of thy labors, which thou hast sown in the field, and the feast of ingathering, which is in the end of the year, when thou hast gathered in thy labors out of the field. And the ingathering relates to the harvest, as you can see over here. See, it relates to the harvest, and there's 2 harvests. There's a spring harvest and a fall harvest. And I'm going to talk a little bit more about that in the next video since I'm running out of time. So I'll continue in the next video. Thanks.